In this video, I will talk about the 4 different types of research questions commonly asked in social sciences. Asking the right questions is one of the crucial first steps in every research project. So it's important to know about these in order to formulate the question that accurately reflects what you want to learn about the topic. First, let's look at descriptive questions. These are pretty straightforward. They aim to describe some existing aspect of social reality. For example, you may ask how many people plan on voting for the Democratic candidate in the upcoming mayoral election. This is a descriptive question since you are simply counting the people, describing something that is actually happening. Similarly, you may want to ask what is the proportion of women of color in leadership positions in academia. Again, you are just trying to obtain some descriptive information about social reality and not make some conclusions about it. Now, the information you may discover might prompt you to try to understand what is happening and why there are so few women of color in these leadership positions, but then you will need to ask a different type of question. Then there are exploratory questions. Researchers ask these when trying to understand a new phenomenon or topic, or maybe a topic that has not been studied very much before. When we do not know very much about our topic of interest, we will likely be asking exploratory questions. These questions tend to lend themselves best to qualitative research, simply because much of qualitative research is also exploratory in nature, and because qualitative research orientation is also well suited to address new or understudied phenomena and hard-to-reach populations. Here, for example, you may ask why people choose to adopt pets from animal shelters. It is likely that very few studies have looked at this topic before, so you're starting from scratch and exploring what is happening there. Or you may ask why students take longer than 4 years to complete their bachelor's degree. The next type of questions is an explanatory question, and these aim to establish connections or relationships between multiple events, different characteristics, or aspects of social reality. To ask an explanatory question, you will want a topic that has been researched a little bit, so that you know enough to try to guess what might be causing a particular event to happen, or how 2 variables may be related to one another. For example, you may ask how growing up in a first-generation immigrant household affects one's academic performance. In this case, you presumably already know something about immigrant households that leads you to think that maybe this relationship exists, that maybe something about the household influences students' performance. Or you can ask if homeowners experience lower levels of stress in their everyday lives compared to renters. Again, you may know something about stress and how maybe lack of stability in one's life can increase the stress level, so you decide to see whether gaining some stability through owning a home may affect that level of stress. Finally, there are evaluation questions. These aim to determine whether a specific program, service, or policy is effective and are typically used in applied research. These questions are useful when organizations and governments need to make decisions about continuing funding to certain programs or learn how to better serve the population they're trying to serve. As an example of an evaluation question, we may ask whether Housing First programs succeed in keeping clients off the streets over the course of 5 years. Housing First programs are programs for the individuals who are homeless, which first provide clients with housing and only then begin working with other problems the clients may have, such as addiction. So a director of such program or a director of a funding agency may want to know if the program helps clients avoid homelessness, and that is where the researcher comes in and does a study asking this exact question. In another example, a university may want to find out whether the university food pantry is effective in helping students address short-term food insecurity. Based on the outcome, they may decide to invest more in maintaining the food pantry or eliminate it if it turns out that it's not needed. So, to recap, there are 4 types of research questions used in social research. There are descriptive questions, exploratory questions, explanatory questions, and evaluation questions. Now let's try to classify a few questions by type.